Welcome to the wild, rugged world of Gunsmoke, a TV series that defined the Western genre for over 2 decades. From 1955 to 1975, Gunsmoke captivated audiences with its gritty storytelling, complex characters, and unforgettable tales of law and order in the Old West. But does this classic still hold up today? Let's find out. In the mid-1950s, television was still finding its footing in the world of entertainment, and many genres were just beginning to establish themselves. Westerns, in particular, were experiencing a golden age, thanks to films like Shane (1953) and High Noon (1952), which sparked a newfound appreciation for the lawless frontier and the men and women who inhabited it. However, it was the arrival of Gunsmoke in 1955 that would elevate the genre to unprecedented heights. Developed by Norman Macdonnell and written by John Meston, Gunsmoke was unlike other westerns of the time. It was grounded in realism, with an emphasis on character development and social issues, rather than just gunfights and horseback chases. The series format, a 30-minute weekly drama, allowed it to delve deeper into the lives of its characters and explore the complexities of life in the American frontier. But what made Gunsmoke stand out was its ability to combine thrilling action with poignant moments that made viewers reflect on life, morality, and justice. Each episode felt like a mini-movie filled with drama, suspense, and moral dilemmas that transcended the typical Western formula. At the heart of Gunsmoke was Marshal Matt Dillon, portrayed by the towering and iconic James Arness. Standing at 6 feet 7 inches, Arness brought an undeniable physical presence to the role of Dillon, a man who carried the heavy responsibility of keeping the peace in Dodge City, Kansas, a town known for its rowdy saloons, corrupt businessmen, and an ever-present threat of violence. Marshal Dillon was more than just a lawman. He was a symbol of justice in a world that often seemed devoid of it. As the show's protagonist, Dillon was tasked with making impossible decisions every week, decisions that often forced him to walk a fine line between the law and his own moral compass. Unlike other Western heroes who were often one-dimensional, Dillon was a complex figure, full of internal conflict. He was a man who deeply cared about the people of Dodge, yet struggled with the brutal realities of enforcing the law. Arness's portrayal of Matt Dillon was both commanding and compassionate. He portrayed a man who, despite his stoic exterior, carried a heavy burden on his shoulders. The physicality of the role matched Dillon's inner strength, a lawman who wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty in the name of justice. Whether confronting a gang of outlaws or negotiating a tense standoff, Dillon was always ready to do what was necessary to maintain order in Dodge City. While Matt Dillon was undoubtedly the focal point of Gunsmoke, he wasn't alone in his quest for justice. The show featured a dynamic ensemble cast that provided a rich array of personalities, each adding their own unique flavor to the series. One of the standout characters was Doc Adams, the cantankerous yet lovable town physician, played by Milburn Stone. Doc was more than just a healer. He was a father figure to many of the characters, and his medical knowledge was invaluable to the residents of Dodge. But it wasn't just his skill with a scalpel that made him such an essential part of the show. It was his wit, wisdom, and moral compass that helped guide Dillon and the rest of the townsfolk through the various challenges they faced. Doc Adams was often the voice of reason when emotions ran high, offering sage advice to Matt Dillon and other characters who found themselves in complicated situations. His banter with Dillon and his gruff yet caring personality became an integral part of the show's charm. He was the kind of doctor who could patch up a gunshot wound just as easily as he could offer a few choice words of counsel to a man struggling with his conscience. Another crucial figure in the Gunsmoke universe was Kitty Russell, portrayed by Amanda Blake. Kitty was a saloon owner, but she was far from the stereotypical femme fatale of Western films. She was a strong-willed, independent woman who had built her business from the ground up in a male-dominated world. Her relationship with Matt Dillon was one of the emotional cores of the series, a partnership that was rich in complexity and unspoken affection. Kitty was not a damsel in distress. She was a survivor. Throughout the series, she dealt with everything from the dangers of running a saloon in a volatile town to her own personal struggles with loneliness, loss, and love. Her strength, vulnerability, and resilience made her one of the most well-rounded female characters in the Western genre. Over time, Kitty's friendship with Matt Dillon deepened, hinting at a romance that was never fully realized. Their relationship added a layer of emotional depth to the series, showing that even in a world defined by violence, human connections could still thrive. No Western is complete without its loyal sidekick, and Gunsmoke was no exception. Enter Chester Good, portrayed by Dennis Weaver. Chester was Matt Dillon's deputy, a good-hearted but somewhat bumbling man who often found himself in over his head. While he was a capable lawman in his own right, Chester's tendency to get caught up in sticky situations often provided the show with moments of levity and humor. Despite his flaws, Chester was fiercely loyal to Dillon and would always stand by him when things got tough. He added a humanizing touch to the series, showing that not all heroes were perfect and that courage could come in many forms. One of the reasons Gunsmoke remained so fresh for its 20-year run was its ability to introduce a wide range of guest stars, each bringing their own unique drama and intrigue to the show. From famous actors of the time like Robert Redford and Leonard Nimoy to lesser-known names who later became household stars, Gunsmoke was a breeding ground for talent. These guest stars played a variety of roles, from outlaws and bandits to desperate settlers and law-abiding citizens. Their interactions with the core cast members allowed the show to continually explore new facets of life in the Old West, touching on themes of morality, justice, and survival. While Gunsmoke was undoubtedly a thrilling action series, its real strength lay in its ability to ask difficult questions about morality, justice, and the human condition. The Old West was a harsh and unforgiving place, and the series didn't shy away from the darker aspects of frontier life. In many episodes, Matt Dillon found himself forced to make difficult choices, where the line between right and wrong was blurred, and the consequences of those decisions weighed heavily on his conscience. The show didn't glorify violence. Instead, it portrayed it as a tragic, often necessary, part of survival. In many episodes, Dillon had to confront the idea of revenge versus justice, the difference between law and fairness, and the consequences of living in a world where the law was often ineffective or absent. These were issues that transcended the Western genre, and in many ways, Gunsmoke served as a mirror to the turbulent social and political climate of America during the 1960s and 1970s. Despite the serious themes, Gunsmoke also knew how to balance its darker moments with humor and camaraderie. The interactions between Dillon, Doc, Chester, and Kitty often provided moments of levity that humanized the characters and made them more relatable to viewers. Whether it was Chester's bumbling attempts to help, Doc's sarcastic quips, or Kitty's playful teasing, these moments of humor helped ground the series in reality. This balance between the heavy and the light was one of the key reasons Gunsmoke was able to maintain its popularity for so long. It wasn't just about gunfights and shootouts. It was about the relationships between the characters, their struggles, and their moments of joy. With its rich history and groundbreaking storytelling, Gunsmoke remains one of the most beloved television series of all time. But the question remains, does it still hold up today? In a world where television has evolved dramatically, with more complex narratives and diverse characters, Gunsmoke may seem outdated to some. Its pacing is slower, its production values are of a different era, and its portrayal of women and minorities can feel antiquated. However, the heart of Gunsmoke, the exploration of morality, justice, and human relationships, remains timeless. For fans of classic television, Gunsmoke offers a window into a different time, where the stakes were high and every decision mattered. The characters are richly drawn, and the moral dilemmas are as relevant today as they were when the series first aired. In conclusion, Gunsmoke remains a landmark achievement in television history. It's a show that not only shaped the Western genre, but also set a high standard for storytelling, character development, and emotional depth. For those who haven't yet seen it, Gunsmoke offers a compelling journey into the heart of the American frontier. And for those who have watched it, it's always worth revisiting. Is Gunsmoke still worth watching in 2025? Absolutely. If you love classic TV, complex characters, and tales of the American frontier, it's time to saddle up and revisit this timeless series.